Hey guys, we're going to be going back to the Dream Wrath where I could show you my changes I made for the rank 1 clear. This allowed me to get way more morale, which in turn led to way more damage and got me that rank 1 perfect score. Now you might have seen the quick clip that I uploaded a little while ago where I did a perfect score and things went wrong in phase 2. I uploaded it for like the comedy value, but now we're going to go back and do a clean run where I can properly explain everything. So turn on every single modifier, and then we go ahead and go in with the same team that I've been using. This is like a really meta team, but you could also, we'll talk about swaps at the end of the video. Okay, so for a rank 1 clear, you have to have Seraph Staff, unless Gumi hotfixes that. They may or may not, they haven't yet. So Chow is starting in the shift with the staff, then we go to the base form, where we Kind Protector, Most Loyal of Hearts, and Focused Inspiration. And Chow auto-covers when you Brave Shift. Frievia is going to Magnus, Frost Blossom, Riposte, and Preparation. Roberta is going to Morale Fill, Dragon Buff, and Emissary of Demise. The reason for the Dragon Buff is because it's a permanent attack and magic buff. Kresnik is going to Arcane Stimulant. Now we're going to Shift Form LB Sky. Start her into the base form and then shift her and do the shifted LB to stack it up and accuracy down. Now we're going to do a wind resist buff for Chow. If you have it, it's a limited item. If you have it, Winter Ward is a 50% wind resist for 3 turns. We're going to do that. If you don't have it, it's an old event item. You can use Calamity Border instead, but Winter Ward is slightly stronger. Okay, so Chow is going to cover all the magic. We're evading all the physical. Now you might notice my Chow is bulkier than usual. This is because we're not using light resist anymore. We're gonna just ignore the boss's light stuff after the imbue because we're gonna dispel the imbue, and I'll explain more when we get to that turn. We're not there yet. Another major change I made was we are now double Blizzard Orbing. I went ahead and unit of choice ticketed a ton of Umaros and got a second Blizzard Orb, and we're stacking them. That's going to increase our counter rate a huge amount. Now, it's not going to be that many counters on turn 1 or turn 2, but once we get to turn 3, and I'll show you how I deal with turn 3, you're going to be surprised how many times Chow counters on turn 3. It is a lot of morale. And even turn 1, we're still countering a lot more than usual because we double stacked that Blizzard Orb plus the counter increase gear. As you can see, we're already back at neutral morale. Our turn didn't even start yet. And Chow is still going. Lots and lots of morale. You love to see it. Okay. Another change we made. Let's go ahead and just use Sky's LB first. Let's do Frievia next. Let's shift Frievia and do Magnus, Enguard, and Flick. Alright, Roberta can just morale fill in the shift form and double bolting just to hit the boss for weakness damage. Alright, Chow is going to triple. We're going to do True Guardian and Most Loyal, and now we're going to do Encouraging Light. This is a light and dark resist buff that we're going to do on Chow for more resistances. Esther is going to Energizing and double Shatterbolt. Wait for all this to finish before we do the next action. Now we're going to imbue the boss with light. Because this turn, the boss will have accuracy, and we're not covering physical, we're not miraging it, etc. So we're going to absorb it with Kresnik. So okay, so this turn, because most of the damage is going to be physical, and we're going to absorb it, and you can't counter absorb damage, we're not going to get that many counters this turn, which is fine. Most of the damage is going to be coming, most of the counter is going to come on turn 3. There will be some counters this turn, just not as many as you're expecting. So let Chow go ahead and counter a little bit to fix that morale problem. So turn 3 is where the major change that I made that increased our damage oh so much. It's beautiful. Alright, wait for all this to finish, because Chow is countering somewhat. Turn 2 is not a big counter turn, because the boss was imbued, and we absorbed it, and you don't counter absorbed attacks, so we're only countering the magic. That's fine, not a problem. Okay, so wait for all the autocasting to finish. Okay, so come on, damn it, Kresnik. I want to all this finish first. Okay, so The boss has accuracy going into turn 3, and he's still imbued with light element. Usually, I use Kresnik this turn for a resist buff. Instead, what we're going to do is shifted LB Kresnik. That's a permanent human killer for the party. That's a really big damage gain by giving us a bunch more killer for the kill turn. But also, when you use a shifted LB, it's a perfect dispel. The boss is no longer wholly imbued. That means his physical damage is going to hurt. On the other hand, his accuracy buff is dispellable, so he's going to have no accuracy on turn 3, meaning Chow is going to evade all the physical, which is great. So we're going to go ahead and Omni cover on Chow this turn to get... so now Chow is going to cover all the magic, also going to counter all the physical. There's going to be a lot of counterattacks on turn 3, which is wonderful. Sky is going to shift the LB to stack up. Freevia can go back to the base form. We're going to quad Blossom and then 1 each of her chains. Don't do the Magnus. Roberta to the base form, where we're going to do her base form LB for the buffing. Okay, now, if you own it, again, another limited item, if you own it, we're going to do Pod 153 Shield on Roberta. I'm sorry, on Chow. This is a 2-turn physical mitigation of 40%. Now, you don't need physical mitigation on turn 3 because we're evading anyway. This is a 2-turn duration. It's still going to be there next turn. If you don't have Pod 153, again, very old limited item, you can just give Chow Auto Protect and the Shift form, and it's permanent duration Protect. Okay, so here all the physical damage is being evaded by Chow and Omni covered, even though the boss has no accuracy. So all the attacks this turn are going to be countered, and because we Omni covered all the physical damage and evaded it, we're going to get a bunch of counterattacks. So we're going to be here for a moment as Chow just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on with his counterattacks. There's going to be a lot of counters this turn. But that's a good thing. It's going to fill morale. So double Blizzard Orb, counter attack increasing gear, big morale. The other major change, like I mentioned, is we now have Human Killer from Kresnik. So we've got both killers on the party, which was that on top of the increased morale gain is a big reason why damage capping was now possible. And in fact, I'm overcapping by a respectable amount. So even if your gear is not as good, but you still have all the units and such, you should still cap. The damage shouldn't be a problem any longer. So again, Chow's going to be here for a moment. We Omni covered so many AoEs on turn 3, and because the boss is not imbued, we're not immuning, we're not resisting, we're going to counter all that damage. And the double Blizzard Orb, they do stack to increase your counters. Like he's still going. Chow is just going to counter, counter, counter. Like I said, long turn 3. Oh, we're finally done? Unfortunate. I would have loved to see even more. Then we auto-cast some more morale fill, etc. We also got lots of things like batons and all that in the party. I'll show you the gear at the end. But, okay. Now here comes the big, dangerous turn. Because remember, the boss is not imbued. He's going to get accuracy at the start of his turn. So, what we're going to do, we're going to shift Freevia, and we're going to break the boss again. We're going to do all of her chains, 1 each. Roberta, we'll come back to her in a minute. Esther, to the base form, get ready for the burst next turn. We're going to Calm, Bolting Slice, Bolting Impact. Sky to the base form, where we're going to Tyvis' Spirit. Okay, so because this turn is going to be a bunch of physical damage and it's going to hurt, we're going to guard Chow, which makes it take half damage, basically. We're going to go ahead and do the Resistant Will this turn. Kresnik is going to triple. We're going to Medicinal Potion twice, and we're going to cast Re-Raise on Chow, because there is a chance that Chow dies during this turn. Roberta is going to Morale Fill, Mega Breath, and we're going to do Support from the Skies. That's a 5-stack Mirage, because the first attack the boss is going to do this turn is a single target wind attack with an enormous modifier. As you can see, we're not using Wind Resist. That would decimate our Chow, but we're going to Mirage it with Roberta. Okay, so we didn't quite fill morale gauge to 200%, it looks like. It's like about 198 or so. Oh, I lied. We got all the way. So 200% morale. Here we go. Here's the big Sinister Gale. Boom. Miraged. Chow's going to cover the rest. Now, he is going to take a bunch of damage, but we're guarding. We've got Pod 153. We've got buffs on the party. We're at 200% morale. So this is relatively fine. He might still die. If he does, he's going to re-raise. It doesn't really matter if Chow dies, honestly. If he dies, he'll re-raise, and he'll still survive for the second part of this fight. So not a problem. We got there. He didn't die, so that's even better. But even if he did, it wouldn't matter. We're going into the threshold, and the boss is going to dispel your buffs anyways. Even if he did die and lose all his buffs, they were about to go away in the first place. Doesn't really matter. But because he didn't die, he's going to counter for a while and refill the LB gauge. We don't need counters this turn because the morale gauge is already locked in at the end of the turn. But yeah, this is nice. So I guess we take a moment, grab a sandwich as we wait for counterattacks. He'll be done in a moment. Yeah, a lot of counters with a double Blizzard Orb, Cypress Coat, Looming Wrath build. If you don't have all those, we'll go over alternatives during the gear showing section of the video. Alright, Chow's finally done. Let's wait for all the auto casting to finish. Okay, so what we want to do here, we want Kresnik to cure the Imperils before we go into this phase. So Kresnik is going to Imperil Cure with Remedy, Antioxidant, and Supplement. That way the Imperils are gone for the threshold. Other than that, damage time. So Sky is going to shift the LB, Esther base LB. We're going to shift Chow and do his do the Lightning Bolt Barrage Materia. Frievia is going to shift the LB, and Roberta is going to quad Mystic Breath. Make sure you do the morale buff. We are at 200%, so we can now use this. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to send Roberta first. About a half second later, we're going to send Frievia. Then we're going to do Sky before Esther. We want all of these guys to use Roberta's field. Then we're going to chain Esther and Chow. That's going to give us the 100 count chain score, as well as, hopefully, 2.5 or better damage. So, Roberta, wait, Frievia, wait, send the others. And that should be a 2.5 or better damage cap. Now, assuming I fixed the problem from last time, we shouldn't have any deaths on this. 2.7. Okay, bad variance yet again, but whatever, it's fine. So hopefully people don't die twice on this threshold. Here we go. If they do, we're going to recover it again, and I will hopefully explain things. Yeah, my God, this is how the threshold is supposed to go. If you saw that previous video, you saw why I was so flabbergasted. Like, how'd this happen? How'd people die twice? Blah, blah, blah. This is the way it's supposed to go, and it almost always does on my practice runs. Anyway, let's go ahead and, so, we got full dispelled, etc. If people are still sleeping, you can use Remedial Will. It'll wake them up. I'm not going to actually use that. We're going to use Crescent to wake them up instead. Because Remedial Will full dispels, and I don't want it to full dispel. So we're going to Medicinal Remedy. We're going to Medicinal Potion. We're also going to Medicinal Mastery. That's an AoE re-raise, but more importantly, it's also an AoE human mitigation, which is really helpful for this phase. Okay, Frievia is going to triple. We're going to Magnus, Enguard, and Flick, because the boss got dispelled, we got dispelled, etc. Chow to the base form, where we're going to Kind Protector, Focused Inspiration, and True Guardian's Blessing. Esther is going to, let's see here, Calm Before the Storm, Energizing Bunny, and we're going to do Quantum Storm on Kresnik. Okay, Sky to the base form, where we're going to Magnus, Furious, and Battering, just, whatever, basically. Roberta is going to triple. We're going to Rousing, we're going to Mega Breath, And we're going to Ignitos Domain for a barrier. Okay. So Chow shouldn't die here, but it is possible if he does. If he does, he's got a re-raise. I don't think he's going to die here. We've got all the buffs. The boss is broken this time. You saw my previous video, the boss was not broken because we couldn't fit it. Yeah, here we go. We're fine at this point. Taking minimal damage. Some attacks. This is the way the fight is supposed to go in Phase 2 when you don't have your breaker dying during the threshold, because you can break the boss after the threshold. Yeah, so as you can see. So now we're going to counter a whole bunch. Not a problem here. It's going to heal the party, etc. Refill LB gauge and all that. Not that we need it, but whatever. The important thing is it's going to heal the party, because Kresnik is going to be busy chaining this turn as we do some burst damage. Okay. So, Divine Beast Chow is going to guard. We do not want to take extra damage if we don't have to. Esther is going to LB, so is Kresnik, or not LB. Kresnik is going to chain Lightning to chain with Esther. We're going to shift the LB Sky. We're going to have Roberta quad Breath. Okay, this is important though. We don't have the buffs yet, so we're going to use Frievia to quad in the base form before anything. Magnus, Ice Imbue, Riposte, and Preparation. So send off Frievia first. We gotta imbue the party and all that. We got dispelled earlier. Now we're going to stat buff. Also to help survival, we're going to Resilient Will. We're also going to Resistant Will. And if your party needed healing, you can do the healing skill also, but we don't need it. So we're going to send Roberta first. Wait. Send Sky. Send the other guys. And that's going to deal some damage. It'll probably push the boss below 20. Which is fine. A lot of damage. Not a problem. So Chow is guarding with all the mitigations. He shouldn't die here. But if he does, it is possible he dies. If he does, he'll re-raise. He's got multi-guts. No one else is going to die at this point because we're good. Also, because earlier in the fight, the way we changed up the gear, we're not using resistance gear anymore, meaning we can gear for pure bulk, which means Phase 2 is actually a lot easier now that we're pure bulking Chow. So usually when Chow is in all resistance gear, Phase 2 is rough because Phase 2 is all non-elemental. There's no elemental in Phase 2. So pure bulk is way more helpful here. As you can see, we are totally, perfectly safe, not a problem. Okay. So we're going to guard Chow again. Esther is going to triple. We're going to Magnus and double bolting. Sky is good to go, so we're going to use Sky's LB. Roberta is going to quad Mystic. We're going to triple bolting with Frievia this turn. So we're going to shift Frievia and triple bolting. We're going to Coop, Flick, and Coop again. Let's go ahead and do the attack and magic buff. Now this may finish off the fight. If it does, marvelous. If it doesn't, we'll just go again. It's not going to be a problem. So Kresnik could if we didn't finish the fight here, Kresnik would just do things like barrier, morale fill, etc. Anyway, so we're going to send Roberta. Wait for a minute to chain to build. Send the other guys. And this is the end of the fight, I already know. If it doesn't, again, we'll do it again. Yeah, we got it. So we would have gone another turn if we didn't finish off the fight that round. Again, it would have been just single targets attack on Chow. He's guarding for lots of mitigation. We still had all the mitigation. We still had human mitigation from Kresnik, etc. That was a clean, very easy to repeat rank 1 perfect score video, which is the way I like to post videos, but sometimes things go wrong, which is why I posted that goofy video earlier. So here's the damage breakdown. Sky, still best unit in Clash of Wills. Roberta, amazing, amazing, amazing. Esther, you know, her Clash of Wills damage is not super high, as we already knew. And then Frostblade Frievia, big sad face. She got the short end of the stick during development, and I am very sad they did that. They did Roberta very dirty. Okay, so let me go ahead and show the gear now that I demonstrated a nice, clean rank 1 clear. It's really unfortunate that both in my goof up video as well as this video, we got low variance and only did like 2.7 on the burst turn, which is still way more than we need. We only need 2.5. We did 2.7. in practice runs, I did a 3.0 once. Now that might have been like god tier variance, who knows? But the point is, damage dealt is not really that hard in this setup because we were able to fit in max morale as well as Kresnik's human killer. So here's the party. So as far as espers go, none really matter for the most part. Just, do your espers the best killer gearing you have. And here you go. So Chow starts in the shift form that is using Seraph Staff and auto buffing. We're getting auto protect from Miracle Shoes in case you don't have Pod 153. Also, that'll still be there in phase 2, which is kind of important for the physical damage. Passive provoke, other than that. Also, he needs to have 150 in the shift form, unbuffed wind and dark resist. So 150 to both, and make sure he's immune to sleep in the shift form. So there we go. There's his build. Base form, counter build. We don't really need much wind or dark resist anymore, and you can completely ignore holy resist. We never care about holy resist. Feel free to ignore it or overstack it. It doesn't matter. We don't use the boss's imbue anymore, except for turn 2, where we absorb it anyway, so your resist does not matter. So a little bit of wind and dark if you can, but mostly you want to focus on counter increasing and general bulk. Also, he needs to be sleep immune in the base form as well, because the boss will imperil your resistance, and if you're not immune from a buff and an item, you will get slept on turns 2, 4, and then phase 2, and we don't want that. So here's the gear read. Oh, also he needs 50% or better evasion and passive provoke. Actually, technically, passive provoke is optional, but I would still recommend it. So here's the gear. Oh, also you want to kind of focus on defense and HP, not so much spirit. He actually takes mostly physical damage in this fight. So we're using the Crystallized Claw, his own TMR, double Blizzard Orb, Cypher's Coat, and Looming Wrath. That is the max possible counter up you can get. As you saw, we countered for a long time. Dancer's Diadem is amazing. That gives him evasion, etc. And then this is actually really good too. Adventuring with Friends gives him a lot of stats, HP, defense, and spirit. It also gives him sleep immunity, which is really, really helpful. Other than that, Shield of the King, Lucas Valentine, and then Behemi's card for the HP and defense. Like I said, we went mostly bulk, not resistance, on this build. And we stuck him on Tetra for some more wind resist. Yeah, wind resist is more important than dark resist, if you have to pick one. Esther, in the shift form, morale fill. Pod 153 and Winter Ward, if you own them. If you do not own them, the replacement for Winter Ward is Calamity Border, and the replacement for Pod would be giving Chow Auto Protect in the shift form. Other than that, her shift form is double conductors, Galbana lilies, the Clash chest piece, etc. Base form is just damage. Guts. Give her guts. Give the whole party guts in the form they'll be active in during the threshold. So we're going to be in the base form for the threshold, so guts. Human killer, undead killer, and then the Leave It To Me card. Maxed, good to go. Sky, in the base form, Galbana lilies, some auto-casting. Tyvus' Spirit is really important. There we go. Otherwise, not too important. Clash of Wills gear and her TMR or STMR. Shift form, spear build, guts, again, guts. Gotta have guts. As far as espers go, Esther's esper is not important. I just stuck her on Anima just for whatever. Not really that important. We got Bahamut on Sky. Here's the build. Here's the killers. And here's the card. This card gives, for those that don't know, this gives, This gives Human Killer, which is helpful. 6,000 attack, maxed LB, maxed Human, maxed on everything. Good job, Sky. Frostblade Freya in the base form is using the Magister's Ring, some LB, some auto-casting, just for morale. Shift form is LB build versus whatever, Magisters, etc. Now, you need to give her 150 or better dark resist. That's why she died twice on the threshold earlier, and I fixed that by giving her a lot of dark resist. That way she will never die in the threshold. Diablo synergy and reclaim synergy gives her enough dark resist to always survive the threshold, her own card, and she is maxed on everything. Roberta in the shift form, auto-casting. So Galvana, pause. Some dark resist if you can fit it. Light resist. This is kind of like a leftover build. I didn't really finish optimizing. She does need 50% evasion in the shift form though. So 50 evade, does not have that naturally in the shift form, so gear for it. Base form is chain damage, magical damage versus Reaper and Undead and Human. There's the build. There's the card. 300 Reaper, 275 Human. And then Kresnik in the shift form is wearing Obsidian Bracer. Other than that, autocast build, 50% or better evasion, very important. So conductors, double conductors, if you can fit it. Philosopher's Stone, Galvana Lilies, a lot of autocasting. It helps for morale. We got the evasion card for more evasion. Base form, pretty much the same thing, but a source of guts. We gave him guts in the base form so that he doesn't die on the threshold. Other than that, a lot of autocasting. And there it is. So I'll post a turn chart in the comments, and I'm probably going to take a day off of this fight because I am just burnt out on this fight. And I'll start working on a budget run like Saturday evening or Sunday, and hopefully by Sunday evening I've got a budget run figured out, and I will post it. So hope it helps. There's the rank 1 clear. If you have Seraph Staff, go for it. If you don't, big sad face. Blame Gumi, not me. Anyway, see you next time.